Good morning and welcome to In the Garden with Joyful Living. I am Kimberly Dixon. I'm starting out this morning in the house for a reason. I want to show you some things that I'm working on. But I'm going to be talking about some really important stuff this morning, so please stay tuned and please share the video. So what I wanted to show you is my peppers. I am attempting to overwinter them for the first time. So I just learned this year that most of us grow peppers, almost any variety of pepper, green pepper, red bell pepper, green bell pepper. We plant them and use them as an annual, meaning they only last one season. But I learned this year that they are a biannual, meaning they will last 2 seasons if you overwinter them. So I'm attempting to overwinter these. That's a yellow sweet banana pepper. This was my yellow bell pepper, my jalapeno pepper, I believe this one is. Yep. And that's my hot cayenne pepper. So I'm attempting to overwinter them for the first time. And this is my laundry area. And this is the only place where it's cool enough in here to do it, because you need to put them in a garage or someplace where it's temporarily cool and not freezing though, but where they won't get sun, and it will put them into the dormancy state. And next spring, you should be able to repot them or replant them, and they produce peppers again. And these were some really good producers. I didn't do it with my green bell pepper and my red bell pepper because I actually planted them in a container that was too small this year, and they didn't do that well. And I wanted to show you this. This is my collection of seeds. These are all vegetable seeds. And this looks like overkill. Good morning, Tara. Please share the video, guys. I'm going to talk about some important stuff this morning. This is my seed collection. And it looks like overkill because there are, many packets. But this spring, good morning, Kimberly, I plan on doing some workshops with children. So I wanted to have seeds so that they can actually plant something and take it home with them on that day. So I wanted to show you my seeds and my peppers that I'm attempting to overwinter for the first time this year. So, y'all, my notes blew away. But we're gonna proceed. I picked up one page, and this is the table of broccoli and cabbage. I've already harvested all the cauliflower, and you see the leaves are turning yellow. The plant is not really in distress, but it has been so wet and raining so much recently that the nutrients in the soil in the pot will leach out of the holes, and I haven't had an opportunity to feed it. So this plant is showing some signs of a nutrient deficiency, but we're going to take care of that this weekend. We're going to feed them real good and take care of my babies. Look at that broccoli right there. She's so pretty. And I've been eating spinach all week, so my spinach bed is a little bit low. But we're going to go ahead and get started. We've got a few people watching us this morning. But I want to thank you all for tuning in to In the Garden with Joyful Living. So the topic this week is praying time. And I'm going to be referring to my notes. I should have brought something to hold them with. It's windy out here. I'm going to be referring to my notes because I had a different topic. God had given me a topic last weekend. But good morning, Tony. But then this morning when I woke up, he gave me something else to talk about. So by now we are all familiar with the events that happened this week in the U.S. at Capitol Hill. The coup, because that's what it was. Let's call it what it is. The coup that we saw earlier this week is something that we would see. Happy New Year, Tony. Oh, thank you, Tara. Yep, I'm hoping James and Dana, your whole crew, I'm hoping all of them will come because I really want to express the importance of learning how to grow food and taking care of your family and how much healthier it is in the grocery store. But the events that we saw this week at on Capitol Hill was nothing short of atrocious. And that's a coup. That's really what it is. It's something that we see in other countries, but we've never experienced anything like that here. We thought, things couldn't get any worse with COVID-19, but here it is. Lord, y'all, that squirrel ran by like the scared the bejeebies out of me. Because he was getting him. I'm not afraid of him, but, you know, when you're moving like that, you know, when you see somebody running, you run. But the events that we saw this week were completely unbelievable. This is something that we see in other countries, and this is how civil wars begin. And don't think just because we haven't had a civil war in the U.S. since 1865 that we cannot have one here again. Because this week is the evidence that it is possible. This is not a black thing. This is not a white thing. This is not a purple thing. This is a people thing. That mob in that building this week they broke in, they destroyed property, and then they were allowed to leave. Now, they took laptops and papers and Nancy's podium. Y'all, why they take her podium? You said, Tara said, I accepted January as part of 2020 in November. Yes, honey, I did too, because I kept telling people when they kept posting that they be glad when 2020 is over with. I'm like, well, COVID-19 and everything that's going on, it's not going to stop just because the new year started. It's like, it's only going to stop when some changes are made, when people do what's necessary to stop the virus, and when people do what's necessary to stop things of this nature. But those people, they broke in, they stole laptops, papers, the podium, and then the police allowed them, actual criminals who were in the act of committing a crime, to leave the building. Now, if this had been people of color, that would have been a massacre. It would have been a bloodbath. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. But I am talking about the fact that they allowed them to leave. And what that did was allow them to go home, reorganize, plan. And now they're even madder than they were before because their plan didn't work. Because their objective was to get Senate and Congress not to certify Joe Biden's win. So now we have this inauguration coming up, and they've been posting on social media for months about the 6th and the 20th. So if you think, good morning, Benita, if you think, good morning, Coretta, if you think this is over with, it is not. You have your head in the sand. Those people are mad now. And you see they showed up in fatigues. They showed up with weapons, automatic weapons. I think I saw on the news yesterday that they found some pipe bombs, some homemade devices. I don't know what kind. That's not my area of expertise, so I'm not going to say that. But they are mad. Today is my nephew Michael's 5th birthday. This isn't the world that I want him to grow up in, and this is certainly not the pace I want to lead to him. So, y'all, please share the video. Everybody need to hear this. So, it's time for all of God's people to cry out to the Lord. It's time for everybody to speak up in your families and in your community and stop enabling and perpetuating this madness, this mess. This is completely ridiculous. And what's even sadder is that the president of this whole mob situation and the president of the U.S. is one and the same. It's the same person. Now, this is not a Democratic speech or Republican. I don't do politics on my page because that's not the purpose of it. But I knew when Donald Trump was running 4 years ago, I didn't care about his business savvy or what is make America great again. I knew he was a dangerous person just from seeing his character on his television shows and in other avenues, that he was dangerous. And he is. And he has shown it. And he's become even more powerful because instead of stopping him in his tracks, as his party should have done, they perpetuated his madness and slid things under the rug that should have been stopped a long time ago. Well, it's this. And this is what the result of that is. But it's praying time. So I saw a comment on social media this week about the young lady that died, that was shot. She was one of the mob. And I don't condone anybody's death. I did not want her to die. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Samuel. Did not want her to die. And somebody had posted a picture and a commentary that they were upset that she had died in it. And, people came back on the post. Now, this was a Caucasian woman. Good morning, Celeste. This was a Caucasian woman that posted it. And most of the comments were, they stormed Capitol Hill. They were violent. So, but then one woman came back and said they were just walking around. But it was a mob that broke into the Capitol building while Congress was in session. She was in the middle of committing an act, and they were justifying her behavior by saying they were just walking around. That's what I mean when I say it's time for us to speak up and start talking to our families and start talking to our communities. Because if you are silent during a time like this, that means you're in agreement with this mess. And like I said, this is not a black thing. This is not a white thing, a Democratic or a Republican thing. This is a U.S. thing. The Bible says that we are to pray without ceasing. And if you know God, you need to be praying. James 5:6 says to pray for one another. Luke 6:27 through 28 says to love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who abuse you. As I said, this is not a black thing. This is not a white thing. This is not Democratic. It's not Republican. This is about our country, and it is falling apart. As I said earlier, this is how these types of mobs and coups, this is how democracies fall, or, different countries fall. Excuse me. Good morning, Odessa. This is how countries fall. It starts with mess like this. That was a coup attempt. It was nothing less than a coup attempt, but instead of arresting the people on site, they were allowed to go home to reorganize. Not a black thing, not a white thing, not Democratic or Republican. This is about the state of the U.S. We have to pray and we have to speak out. Good morning. Coretta said, yes, indeed. This is time for us to pray. And if you know how to fast, you need to be fasting too. Because the word says that some things only come through prayer and fasting. He was talking about being delivered from the demon or the spirit that was in that child. But this is a spirit too. The spirit of hate. And the people that are perpetuating this are demon-filled. So, yes, it is time for us to pray and fast. If you know how to fast, then we need to be praying on and fasting about our country. Because this is complete craziness. If you don't say anything about this behavior, or you justify it the way that woman did in the comment earlier this week, then you are a part of the problem. And that's just being honest. And I'm sorry if I sound a little forceful this morning, but I usually don't watch the news because, one, it depresses me, and two, it upsets me. And I'm upset because, as I said, this is not the world that I want my nephews to live in. And we have a baby coming in my family in the spring. This is not how I want their formative years to start out. Mark 11:24 says that whatever you ask in prayer, believe it and you shall receive it. We have to believe that as the people of God, we can evoke change when God hears our cries. Y'all, please share the video. This is important stuff. Good morning, Watana. Good morning, Janelle. Sun in my eyes, y'all. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. Good morning to you all. There are a lot of people on this morning. But please share the video. And then 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven. I will forgive their sins and I will heal the land. Our land needs to hear from heaven, and we need our healing. Sister Faye Davis of Baileytown Christian Church, that's my home church, y'all, where I sang on the senior choir when I was 25 years old. That's a long story. I'll tell you about it later. But she used to sing, put your time in, it's praying time. Fall down on your knees, it's praying time. If there was ever a time to pray, it's now. If you know who God is, it's time for you to pray. You should have been praying, but that's another segment altogether. We'll talk about that later. But if you are a man or a woman or a child who knows how to pray and you know how to fast It's time for you to be doing that. It's the state of the U.S. is in a place that I never thought I would see. And we wonder why some of these elders are leaving here. They're like, I've already been through mess like this before. I'm not doing it again. God needs to hear from us, from all of his people. So guys, put your time in. It's praying time. We need to start organizing some scheduled prayer times when we are all praying together. It's like, because we got to pray, we got to fast, and we got to stop sitting by and being silent, and stop condoning this behavior of this president we have, and stop condoning the behavior of people who are willing to walk around in fatigues with handguns in the middle of the street and charging on Capitol Hill. This is ridiculous. I know we have freedom of speech, but they are trying to overthrow the government, and that is a completely different ball game. So please share the video. Thank you for watching In the Garden with Joyful Living. I love you all so very much. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.